I'm live back in Australia here in Circle Leadership Headquarters Studios after 3 weeks of traveling around the globe. I've been from Perth to Doha to Miami to Montego Bay, back to Florida. It's been an amazing week in Florida at the Level Up conference that was held by Chris Cumby in Florida. It was an epic event for the week. Masterminds, 2 days of conferencing. Amazing human beings and speakers and presenters, everyone looking to find ways to level up, which was phenomenal. Then got to spend a week in New Orleans with the Global Company Culture Association with Dr. Darren Martin and his beautiful wife, Elise Martin, and looking at the future of the association and our roles within it and how we're going to create an evolution at work. Then a couple of days in LA to unwind and some amazing conversations. And now, after 36 hours of traveling and 5 hours sleep, I'm back here in the studio. And very excited to be here with you guys today because we're going to be talking about business evolution roadmap. Like this is one of my favorite things here. It's one of the greatest tools I believe that we've ever been able to create for business owners and leaders for a multitude of reasons. And very happy to share that with all of you today. And actually just going to go through a little bit what it looks like, how we structured it, why it is set up the way it is, because it all started from talking with business owners and leaders and how what they found in a lot of organizations is there was a lack of clear goals and expectations across the organization. There was a lack of culture and strategy alignment, and let alone even a culture and brand relationship in the organization, which we've talked about multiple times in the past. So the actual business evolution roadmap. So Lisa just coming here. How are you live right now? Well, when you love what you do, Lisa, and you love who you do it with, and you love who you do it for, I'm running on love. That's how. So if we could take all that and to the one last thing that business owners, leaders always say, we need to get everybody on the same page. And I asked them, show me the same page. What does that look like? And, it was more a metaphor or, just a cliche of sorts is how to get people on the same page. So we went ahead and developed the same page. We developed a one-page document that would actually not only have your business model, there's the business model canvas, which you can access, which talks about your strategy and everything. But we wanted to create a document that did all those things. And we imagine if we can put all of that on one page where we could look organizational behavior and human behavior, set up a structure that would follow that, put it all on one page. It was a daunting task, but we did. And we created the Business Evolution Roadmap probably 5 years ago now. It was originally called the Model Business Canvas, but now it is referred to as the Business Evolution Roadmap. And the exciting part of the Business Evolution Roadmap is that it's a simple document. Actually, let me just go here. We'll start with this here. Here's one I prepared earlier. So this is the Business Evolution Roadmap. Sorry if we get the lighting here. But hopefully you can see that there without all the reflections going on. Oh, maybe it's my brightness is going off. There you go. The Business Evolution Roadmap. And what we want to be able to do is so the business owners, leaders could not only map out the future of their organization, but you're able to show this to people and your team and anyone you want to bring into your team. And you're able to go, here's the future of our organization. Here's why we do what we do matters and everything like that. And then help those people decide if this is the organization that they want to be a part of. Because when people can see the future of the organization, they can start to see themselves having a future in the organization. So we wanted to be able to create all that. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to share with you here. I'm going to just go through a little bit of a presentation. It's going to take you through and help you to understand the roadmap, why it's structured the way it is, and then just look at some of the components of it for yourself. So first thing, please understand, this is one of my favorite quotes of all time. Buckminster Fuller, he was an industrialist back in, I think, the 50s or 60s. And he said, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the old model obsolete. And you see that today in this disruptive world, this uncertain times, that even just tweaking your organization now is no longer enough. Every single business on the planet is under threat from disruption. And it's probably going to come from somebody that you're not expecting it from. Just remember that three of the biggest disruptions in the world, like Uber, Airbnb, and Netflix, did not come from people in the taxi industry, did not come from people in the accommodation industry, and it certainly did not come from people in the entertainment industry. It came from pissed off consumers. So your pissed off consumers are your new competitors in the world. So you don't even know. You're looking at your competitors and go, oh, how do we stay ahead of our competitors? Well, you might be looking at the wrong people. So one of the other things that we would challenge you on is that you need to start imagining an organization that does not yet exist. You got to be able to get your culture right, because the old adage that culture eats strategy for breakfast, well, that's an outdated way of thinking. There's no need for that to happen anymore. Culture should become a shield that wraps around your strategy, that protects it like a mother protecting its child. And you can do that if you create a new model that makes the old model obsolete. So let's take a look here. Get myself. All right, so in the Business Evolution Roadmap, it's going to cover these 5 key things. Firstly, it's going to help you understand your cultural framework, which is, why does our business exist? What is the problem we're here to passionately solve in the world, and who for? Then our values. What is the unique thinking of our business? So while Simon Sinek is really great at telling us all that, people buy why you do what you do, here at Circle Leadership, we will assure you that your values are why they buy it from you. So you need to get that, what makes you unique in the way that you think about things. And then what does your world look like? So if you've been living that purpose through the lens of your values for the next 10 or 20 years, what is the world going to look like? And when I talk about the world we're talking about your world. It doesn't have to be the whole world. There's people like, Dave, our organization isn't going to impact the whole world. Well, it's going to impact your world, whatever that is. And that would be the people that you choose to serve. And then once you understand that, you can then move into your strategic framework and you go, okay, well then who do we need to become then to start creating that world? And that's where we create the link between culture and strategy. So our culture is framed by our purpose, values, vision, and then our strategy then gets aligned to the mission. So the mission is born from vision. We've talked about this in the past few weeks. So all of a sudden we go, well, if this is the world we want to create, then what's the business we must build to start creating this world that will help us to evolve and stay relevant, but will also help us start to create the world that we want to see. So we do that. And then out of that, then you'll look at your part of your strategy. Then is, what are the objectives that must be accomplished to show that you've become that organization? And then you'll move into the performance frameworks that will, there we go, Gary Watt. Please check out Gary on LinkedIn. He is one of the most amazing human beings you'll ever meet on the planet. Just a little sidebar there for Gary. Does some amazing work in effective communication. So then once we've got our objectives all mapped out, we'll be able to look at them. Well, how would we measure it? The performance frameworks of our organization. What are the key results that would show we've achieved each of those objectives? Right? So imagine if you can have all that on one page and be able to articulate that to everybody in the organization and or people that you would like to bring into your organization. Well, you can. So this is the Business Evolution Roadmap. And then what you'll have is you'll have a real clear narrative for your business. Okay, so you'll have this wonderful narrative that tells people where your organization's going, why it's going there, what's the world it wants to create. So I'm just laughing at a little bit of the banter that's coming up on in the commentaries here. Yes, we do love Gary. Gary is one of the most lovable human beings as well on the planet. So when you look at your Business Evolution Roadmap, we'll have this very clear narrative. But then you're also developing a blueprint that is continually refreshed. Because you'll have your narrative, which will remain for your organization, but then the constant evolution of your organization as it works to become what it needs to be to create the world that it sees, you're going to have this beautiful blueprint that can be continually refreshed. And then you're going to reverse engineer a future state backwards. So you're going to imagine the organization that does not yet exist and reverse engineer that, and then be able to march forward with it and in that continually evolving loop. So it's really powerful. One piece of paper, one document can actually show you all this. So as I alluded to already, so words form a narrative, but numbers tell the story. So you'll have this wonderful narrative for your organization with a compelling story to back it up. And this is why when we look at our organization is, how do you do that? Because people love storytelling. And, let's talk about Gary as effective communication is, how do you effectively communicate the narrative of your organization and the story in such a compelling way that people want to be a part of that? And this is what your Business Evolution Roadmap can do for you. Because your words will form a narrative, but your numbers will tell the story. And when you're able to link those two together, people will be excited about the future of your organization. Because I'm a firm believer, I don't know how many people jump out of bed in the morning and go, gee, I can't wait to make the boss rich today. People want to be a part of something, want to know that their work is meaningful and that they're contributing to a greater good. So most strategies, though, unfortunately, are built off of how much profitability we want to make, or revenue, or whatever, some financial metric. That is not the best way to capture the spirit and the hearts and minds of the people that are in your organization, or you'd like to bring into your organization. Remembering that culture is a magnet. It's the ultimate filter for talent. And as a magnet, it can attract and repel people. So when you get your culture right and the strategy aligned to it, and finance becomes one of the objectives, not the end game, Because please understand that when money is your end game, you'll play any game. And nobody jumps out of bed in the morning and goes, gee, I can't wait to make the boss rich. So how do we get people engaged? How do we actually do this? What does the roadmap actually cover for us? So let's take a look at it. So the first thing that it does is it helps you understand, why does your business exist? Or as my good friend Gary, if he's still listening, he will love this. Why does your business exist? So it's clearly articulating the problem we're here to passionately solve. So everybody knows why we do the work that we do in this world, why our organization matters. And then from that, you'll be able to articulate your core values, the 6 values or less that actually clearly are your ultimate decision-making filters of your business, the things that you would filter every decision through, and as I alluded to earlier, the things that make you unique in the way you think about that purpose that you have. So our purpose is why we do what we do, and our values are the unique thinking around that. Oh, here goes, sorry, Gary's got a great comment. Purpose speaks to the soul. Love what Circle Leadership shares. Thank you so much for that, Gary. And yeah, we're looking forward to doing a lot of great work with Gary and his network, because we just so aligned with the way that we think about things. So yeah, purpose speaks to the soul. What a beautiful way to express that, Gary, because we talk about soul decisions and ego decisions. Ego decisions are based on, obviously external things, but soul decisions, and this is what we want to do for organizations, is how do we help you capture the soul and DNA of your business? Because when you capture that soul and DNA of your business, why your business exists and how you uniquely think about it, and then the third thing, the world that you want to create, and you can speak that with love to the market. Every single person in your organization can speak that with love to the market. Brand is how the market and consumer thinks it feels, and they can't help but respond in kind. And this is when we talk about getting everyone to fall in love with why you do what you do. This is where it all comes from. So you'll have your purpose, you'll have your values. Now, you don't have to have 6, but I would encourage you not to have more than 6. And what you'll have in your values there is you'll obviously have the value, but then you need to also articulate the definition of those values. So what does it mean? Now, what does it look like? Because when we talk to a lot of organizations about value statements, they have, hey, here's our value, and they describe all the behaviors, but they haven't got clarity around what does it mean, right? So we want to use these as decision-making filters. We need to get those clear. So then once you have your purpose and your values done and then defined, then you go, well, if we've been living that through the lens of that, what's the world going to look like in 10 years' time? And we create this beautiful vision statement for the world, the impact that you getting up every day on purpose through the lens of those values will create in your world. And it should speak to the impact they're having on the lives of the people that you choose to serve. And then the last thing, of course, then where the link between culture and strategy happens, is then we go, hey, who do we need to become then to start creating that world? So you'll have this wonderful narrative about your business that you're able to articulate clearly and forcefully on every single occasion as to why your business exists, how you think about the world you want to create, and the business that you're building right now. And then from that, once you've done that, I'll show you just an example of what that looks like. So here's one of our clients. So they've got their purpose in here. Here's their 4 values. You notice they don't have 6, they only have 4. And their definitions of them are here. And then what the world's going to look like and the business that they must become to start creating that world. And that's as simply as it needs to be. So when you've got that part of the roadmap done, then all you need to do is start working at, well, then how do we become that organization? What must be accomplished to show that we become that? And this is where you get into the objectives and key results. We've leveraged the methodology OKRs that was created by Andy Grove and John Doerr, which Apple, Google, and many other organizations use these days. But we've done it in a way where small businesses can embrace the power of OKRs, but do it in a way that actually is relevant to small businesses, so that you can actually not only reimagine your strategy, but reimagine how you think about strategy. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But what you'll be able to do then is to look at, well, what are the 3-year objectives that, here's another example. What are the 3-year objectives that would show that we become that organization? And it's usually what's the team that we must have? What's the brand we must have? What's the clients that we must have? What's the financial performance we must have? What are the systems and operations we must have? And the other one might be industry or network or whatever it might be that you would have. And then you would go down from that to then what do we need to, sorry, I'm trying to do 2 things at once. And as me, that's not usually something I'm very good at. So yeah, you'll have those objectives. Then you go, what are the key results that we would need to show that we've accomplished that? The team that we have. How would we know we have that team? How would we know we have that brand? How would we know we have those clients? How would we know we have that financial performance? And those will be the key results for your business. Then you do the same exercise at 12 months. You go, okay, well, if that's a team we have to have in 3 years, what's the team we have to have in 12 months? And then you work it all the way back down to what are we going to do this next 90 days, right? So this is how you build your roadmap. And this is what it would look like. So this is one of our other client organizations. We must have a gun team. For them to become the business that they want to become, they have to have a gun team. They have to have business sustainability. They have to have innovative solutions. They have to have client influence. They must have systematic operations. They must be an influential brand. Okay, so when we know we have the gun team and we have business sustainability, innovative solutions, client influence, systematic operations, and influential brand, we have become the organization that we need to become. And then in the next 12 months, well, what's the team we need to have a gun team? Well, we need to have an aligned team. So you'll notice here, one of the things that's, so Lisa said, key for our next, so we're actually coming up to do our next 90 session, I think this coming week. So when you look at this here, it's not traditional goal setting would go, hey, what's 1/3 of that? Let's do that in the next 12 months. And what's 1/4 of that? Let's do that in the next 90 days. This is an evolution strategy. This is about the steady progressive increase of our capabilities and our capacity for greatness. So it's showing how we're actually evolving as an organization, not just some 3-year goal that we're breaking down into thirds or quarters as we move forward. And that's really important to remember when you're developing your roadmap. So getting down to what the quarterly objectives would be, there's another client's example. These are not in sync with the other ones. And you would go, okay, well then in the next 90 days, what we have to work on is team awareness, brand consistency, and complete our operating system. So that's what this organization has chosen. Okay, so what you'll find is once you've mapped all this out, and then you start marching forward quarter by quarter, you will then start to steadily, progressively increase those capabilities and your capacity for greatness. So what you're looking at is not a who or a how strategy. It's actually a what must be accomplished strategy. Because what must be accomplished, I'll come up to the next slide, this might actually make sense. So this is a what to accomplish strategy, not how to accomplish strategy. So what must be accomplished becomes mandatory. When and how we get there is arbitrary. Nobody can tell me what's going to happen in the next 3 years. Nobody can tell me what's going to happen in the next 12 months. We can take a wild ass guess at what might happen in the next 90 days. So why would we set, here's how we're going to do it strategy for our organization when we don't even know what's going to happen? Nobody knew, 3 to 6 months ago that AI would be accelerating at such a powerful rate and impacting organizations and industries right now at the rate it is at the moment. So we can go, here's what must be accomplished in 3 years. Here's what must be accomplished in 12 months. Here's how we would measure that, not how we would do it. And then we get down to 90 days. Here's the 3 things that matter most in the next 90 days and how we would measure those. And then and only then do we worry about how to. Then how do we do the next 90 days? And as you start walking further forward, my good friend Chris Cumby, who did the Level Up event, he has one of his Cumbyisms, I guess. He said, walk as far as you can see, and then you'll be able to see a little bit further. So when you start to walk forward every 90 days, you can go, okay, great. Now what are we starting to see? Oh, hey, you know what? We need to be working on this now and this now and this now. And we'll work on those things. And then we march forward every 90 days, working on the 3 things that matter most to then accomplish all the things that we need to do in the next 12 months to lead to the things we need to do in the 3 years. And then what you've done for your organization is you have created this. I wonder if I can move myself out of the way a little bit here. Move myself to the side. You will have created this amazing decision-making filter for your organization. Yeah, thank you, Gary. Yeah, it is very strong. You're right. It's so powerful, the ability to do that, mate. So now you'll have this decision-making filter. Can you imagine when you can when you talk about empowering your people to make smarter decisions, that every single person, because they have the roadmap, they can see where their organization is going, they can see their selves having a future in that organization, they know why they do what they do, they know how to make decisions, they know the world they're creating, the business we're building together, they know when things need to happen. They can easily just use this decision-making filter and just go, does this serve our purpose, yes or no? Does this reject any of our values, yes or no? Will this move us towards our vision of the world that we see, yes or no? Will it help us fulfill our mission? Will it help us become the organization we need to become, yes or no? It can pass the narrative test for your organization. Then you move into the story and you go, okay, well, who would need to be involved? And then you go from that and you go, well, here's all the people would need to be involved. What's the cost benefit analysis? So who would need to be involved in those decisions? And then the last part here, because you know 3 years, 12 months, what you're working on 90 days, is when should we do this? So it might pass all the tests, but it gets down the end there, go, hey, this is a really great idea. Sorry, Dolphy's just put up a comment here. Partway, this is very relevant to me. Could I get a replay, please? Yes, absolutely, Dolphy. I think it'll actually, once the live stream's over, you'll be able to go back and watch it again anyway, right here on LinkedIn. So please do. And if you have any trouble, just let us know, and Jordan will make sure that she gets you a copy of the replay or a link to it for sure. Thank you for joining in, by the way. All right, so once we get to here at the end, it's just going, well, here's what matters most right now. Then we go, hey, there's this really cool idea. Now we can make a value-based decision, not a values, we've already done that, a value-based decision. Is this potential thing more important than what matters most right now, this 90 days? And if not, then we go, okay, cool, it's still important. When does that, where in the roadmap does that fit? Hey, this is something that we need to do in the next 12 months. Great, let's put it there and stay focused on what matters most. Because we know what matters most is what's going to give us traction. Everything else is a distraction. All this can come from one page, one roadmap, where you'll be able to sit there and share with your team what the future of the organization looks like. So the other last part I want to share with you about this, no problems at all, Duffy, my pleasure. The last part I want to share with you about this is this roadmap, the critical importance of this roadmap, apart from the culture and the strategy alignment, is to really help you imagine a business that does not yet exist. And we talked about that at the beginning, about creating a new model that makes the old model obsolete. So please understand that as you strive to imagine your business, you have two choices. You can actually find a way to put yourself out of business. Okay, please follow this along. You can find a way to put yourself out of business, and that's just you putting your old way of doing business out of business. Or someone else can come along and find a way to put you out of business, and you're out of business. Those are your two choices, because like I said at the beginning, every business is under threat right now. So let me ask you, I'll leave you with this one question. Are you waiting for a new business to rub your nose in a future that you were destined to own? It's going to happen. Someone's going to come along and disrupt your industry, disrupt your business. So why couldn't it be you? I would challenge all of you to get very clear on your business evolution roadmap, and all that can come from just one sheet of paper, one page. Getting everyone on the same page is not just about getting everyone on the same page in terms of this, but all those things I just shared with you on the same page with decision-making filters, the future of the business, imagining that, all of that can come from here. So have you got your business evolution roadmap or your version of it for your organization? If not, why not? If not, when will you? That's up to you. So hopefully that's been of value to you guys, helping to take through how to develop a business evolution roadmap. Like I said, it's one of the most powerful tools we ever developed for our clients. It was a massive game changer for us in the way that we work with our organization. It's what's helped us to build the organization we have today to be able to serve people globally. The roadmap is the key to focused action. Absolutely, Gary, because you work your way back and right down to go, here's where we start. I won't be able to do a visual list, but what I usually share with people is that if you remember the old labyrinth and mazes when you go to restaurants and your kids would have to complete those. And up in one corner, there was the doghouse. And in the bottom corner, there was actually the dog with the bone and wanted to get its bone to the doghouse. And there's like 5 ways that this dog can go from where it is to get to the doghouse. Well, what's the fastest way to solve that problem? Okay, I'll go this. Nope, that was it. Oh, nope. And so we just randomly pick a path and we hopefully find the one that takes us there. Or we can go, hey, there's 5 paths to get us there here, and there's only one here. Why don't we work from this one, work our way back, and go, oh, it's that one. That's where we start. So when Gary's talking about the key to focused action, that's what it's about. It's most people know they need to start, but they don't know where to start. So they just start with what they think rather than reverse engineering, going, this is where we should start. And that's what focused action is helping you get the action that's going to take you forward, that's going to create that first steady progressive increase of your capabilities and then increasing your capacity, then next and next and next and next. So business evolution roadmap, please, if you'd like a copy of it, I think we can actually get you a copy. Just put hashtag BERM, hashtag BERM. I'll put it in there. If you want a copy of it, well, that's all popping up. There you go. If you just put hashtag BERM, we'll get you a copy of the roadmap. We would love to be able to help you with that. If there's anything we can do to assist you, please reach out to us or watch this video again. Duffy, thank you so much. Gary, Alonso, Lisa, everybody else who tuned here, thank you so much. Huguette is watching from Canada. Thank you, Huguette. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. It's so great to be back in the studio. This was a little bit longer. This is what I call Lisa long. So Lisa will understand what that means. Normally, I like to keep these things 10 minutes, but I was really excited to be back in the studio here with you. Oh, great. There's a whole bunch of people. Thank you so much. Focus action is what I want. I have things to do and places to go. My long-held dream, higher purpose, launching from my pad of my long-held Duffy business. Awesome, Duffy. Well, we'll get you that straight away. No problems. Yeah, so really great to be back to the studio, guys. Look forward to being here again next Thursday, usual time. And we will see you guys. All the things are popping in, so it's great. Thank you all for tuning into this one. Really appreciate it. And yeah, keep going. Just even though I'm going to end the live stream now, you can just keep putting your comments in and we will get you the link to the roadmap. All right. Got to go. Got to get ready. Got client meetings to head to. So thank you very much for everyone for tuning in. And we'll see you next Thursday. Well, I don't know if the broadcast has ended. It's still spinning circles. Not saying it's ended.